Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of No Bullshit Talks. I am so pleased here to be joined by Kim Hayden, who is the founder and producer of the Resilient series. And I say welcome to the show today.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
So we talked about that you're the founder of the Resilient series. So do you want to start off by telling us what exactly that is and what you guys do?
Awesome. I would love to. So the Resilient series is a series of media platform products that are spoken in a resilient lens or frame. So what we do is we find practitioners, coaches, speakers, people who in this new digital world, you need authority assets. You need stuff that people can track and trace. You just putting out a blog like everybody else, blogs. What is the entry level of a blog? What is the entry level of a phone video on YouTube? Not very high. Everybody can do that. If I'm going to invest money with you, I want to be able to see what you are, how you represent, right? So what we do is we actually have a series where we take the people from television documentary. So a 6 to 8 minute, I think Goalcast. I don't know if anybody out there watches Goalcast. It's GOALCAST. It's one of the preemptive YouTube spaces for these still short kind of video audio documentaries, and they would rip apart the stars and do all sorts of weird stuff. But in that kind of format, we can actually create kind of like speaker reels or business reels, but these really in-depth who you are, what you do, and why you do it. We take that message, we move that message into one of our books. So you become a recognized published author on Amazon Author Central, which is like 3% of North Americans. Then we move you into speaking on a stage, and then we move you into the podcast, understanding how to get guesting opportunities on podcasts, and also do a template. In all of these, you have assets and embeds for your website. So when you go and say, hey, I want you to spend your money with me. I'm really good at coaching people in mind, body, health, and now you have all the authority assets to back you up. So we tell stories. That's what I do. I love telling stories of amazing. I work primarily with women.
So what kind of women do you have working with you at the moment then? Who do you normally attract as a client?
We just, we did our Resilient Women in Real Estate. We'll be doing another one in that one because that one hit #1 in several countries. We're currently looking at anybody in the relationship industry or anybody that services women or supports women, coaches women that have come through some sort of domestic or personal relationship breakdown. So we're calling it Life After Divorce. We have released the Kindle version with just featuring a couple of our authors. So it is online for Kindle. And it did hit #4 without any promotions or anything in the UK. So yes, we do work with it. We work with the UK production house. I do not edit and produce your books. I actually am associated with a full-blown production house that is affiliated in 32 countries. So it's really important that you know what you can do and what you cannot do. I can do video. I can do those types of things. I'm not an editor per se, so you don't want me editing your book. Nothing will be spelled right. I promise. So the Life After Divorce, then we have our Resilient Women in Business. That one's really important to me because Resilient Women in Business, a lot of these women are wanting to move into the speaking realm and a paid speaking realm. And we actually see a true disparity in our speaking, in the speaking arena. Women do get paid significantly less, and there are quite a few less women on the stages. So when you look, for example, like them, love them, or leave them, Grant Cardone puts on these big events, these huge events. And he's got a lot of powerful statements, a lot of good information in there. He talks about how by investing $10,000, your goal is that within a 12-month time frame, you should be able to generate $100,000 off that investment if done right. Those types of things I totally agree with. However, out of, I think he had 18 people on his 3-day stage. 3 were women and 1 he was sleeping with. That was his wife. And I sit here and go, okay, seriously.
That one wasn't his wife.
Yeah.
And that was gossip. It's like one of them wasn't even his wife.
Needless to say, there is not an event that I do that doesn't make somebody laugh. So yes, you like how I put that? I mean, yeah, you're good.
I was like, oh, thank goodness. I was like, and it wasn't his wife.
Why isn't TMZ on this?
Yeah,
right? But when you look at this, the disparity of these recognizing, and part of that goes to more men will spend or invest their money with male coaches, leaders, mentors, and speakers, and half of all women will. So I really got this kind of bug on my butt that I'm tired of seeing women with amazing messages, A, not getting paid, and B, not getting the recognition. And part of that is women, top 3 complaints, top 3 issues for them: investing money. I don't have any money. Well, you know what? If you don't invest money, you will never have any money. Statistically, if you're not investing 7% of what you want to make, you will never get to where you want to make it. So if you're not investing, that's in marketing and assets. So if you want to make 100K, if you don't invest $7,000, you're never going to make that 100K. Period. These are national statistics globally. So women, I don't have any money. The second one is I have to talk to my husband. Oh, honey, I have been married 27 years. Call me. I'll teach you how to get around the husband one. So, the reality is if your husband is going to say no, it's either A, you have done this repeatedly and you have failed to launch because you're not actually going back and creating a business plan, and you have your marketing, you have all these things, right? You don't have anything aside from an idea. And remember, an idea is only a wish without a plan, right? So it's not actually going to probably happen. And then the other one that I hear all the time. So 1, I don't have any money. 2, I have to ask my husband. And 3, the third one is, oh, I tried this. Okay, well, honey, you did not try a cohesive strategy. We are all guilty of doing this and guilty of spending on this. We see something, it becomes the shiny object, we do it, and then it doesn't work. And this happens over and over and over again. The problem with this is the cohesiveness in message. Your message does not bridge all the media platforms, and you have to be everywhere. You have to be boots on the ground locally. So you're getting great social stuff for your social media, and you have to be everywhere digitally. And you also, you will have to pick your sandbox. I tried Clubhouse. I didn't end up following through with Clubhouse. It's not really my jam. I prefer live streams. I prefer this type of engagement. I prefer, LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. That's my jam, but I'm old. So you know what? I should be on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn was designed for us. But the reality is that, you have to be pretty much everywhere. And if you don't have a cohesive message all the way through, people will get confused, and a confused mind never buys. So that's what I do. That's the Resilient series. I basically find out everybody has like 3 or 4 avatars. Oh my God, I have 3 or 4 ideal clients. Give me one, and we're going to make the most intense, cohesive, powerful approach. So it goes across all platforms. So you can actually get out there and say, I am a professional. You can see me here. You can read me there. You can hear me here. This is what I have to offer. And I want to be paid.
I can't believe that women are still paid less than men when it comes to speaking gigs as well. I know there's still a bit of a gender gap with things, but I had no idea that even with speaking gigs, that this was still the same thing. Like, surely that there is such a call at the moment for more female speakers, and
there is.
So in some ways, they should be paid more, because it's like, well, actually, they're so few and far between that they should be actually getting paid more for what they do. There's so many great male speakers you can go find, but how many great female speakers can you find in the same subject? So it's like, I feel like in some ways they should be paid more for what they do. So that's quite surprising, and it's a shame to hear that, to be honest, that they are.
It is because women, What is it? They did a study on women going in for corporate jobs. Men will go in if they have something like 40% meet the criteria. Women want 90%, and so they never apply.
Yeah, exactly. That's so crazy. It's like men will look at a job description and be like, oh, okay, I can do that and that. That'll do it. I'll apply. Whereas women be like, okay, well, there's one little bit that I can't do, so therefore I'm not qualified for the job. That's so crazy. And I see that definitely with CVs and everything. And I see that even when I've got client briefs. Like I'm like, oh, there's one little thing on this brief that, you know, we don't do necessarily in-house. But everything else we do in-house, and we're like one of the best at it. And I was like, oh, that means we can't apply for this brief. And I was like, you crazy? Like that, you know, just get someone in who can do that one thing and then apply for it. But that's not how, I guess, like a female brain works. It's like, okay, well, then that's not quite right. And I think from an ethical point of view, I don't want to like, so it's a strange thing with that. And it's got to get around that. I've got to sort my head out and not do that sort of thing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to give you a prime example of how to think on your feet and run like hell so you can serve somebody. If you're doing something you truly believe in, then it is a disservice to the people around you that could benefit from your genius. You are being selfish if you're holding your cards to your chest and you're not looking for solutions. So if you're really good at something and you're not doing what you need to do in order to be of service to the people who could benefit, grow, generate more money, whatever they need, then shame on you. I'm going to just put that out there. Shame on you. If you aren't thinking on your feet and doing what you need to do in order to be of service and share your zone of genius with people and also get paid so you can continue servicing and sharing, then shame on you. You're really only doing a half job. I'm going to use the ASS word here. You need to get serious. I had a call the other day, met this really great gal, been in business, been in real estate for 10 years. And she's built a pretty solid foundation, but now she needs to go next level. And because if your business is not growing, what is it doing, folks? It is dying. Right?
I know that
so
one.
She's at woohoo. So she needs to go next level. And so she starts sharing things with me. She's never done a brand consult. She's never done any of this. I say, you know what? I know I can be of service. I've got great contacts and connections. And in fact, I have one gal that I personally know. I worked with her over the last 15 years, and she built $1 million brand for me. And I can prove this to you. And how would you feel about connecting with her? And I would work with her to collaborate to get your cohesive message put together, your brand done and everything, so you can go next level. What do you want to make next year? What do you want to increase your revenue? I know I can find the solutions for you. So get off the phone. I don't do brand strategy. I don't know one color from the next. Everything I've done has been curated. So I called the person that curated my stuff and said, hey, you want to collab on this? This gal has no proper branding. She has no real, but I think that if she was back, like she was really worked with, I think she could literally grab this one market like by the throat basically and just like, oh my God, hold on to it and seize an opportunity, because I think she's in the right spot. I got that feeling. Sure enough, everything's coming together, and meeting with her. And this is a gal that, you know what, I think she can make differences if she's given the money to make differences. So she needs people to guide her on the strategies to start with. It's like you with the media, right? It's just, you see what people do wrong all the time. How do you get them to listen to you? Right. You see through, interviewing businesses and talking to people, you get a kind of this bird's eye view. And I find a lot of women were so used to only having space for 3 people on the stage that we push other women off, versus a group of us pushing the dudes off. It's like, okay, everybody a heave-ho, ladies, let's do this. We're so threatened by each other that we don't stop and realize what the message is we're leaving for our daughters.
It's really strange that that's still a thing. Like, I feel like that was what it was growing up, but I wish that it would change, because it's always been that way, that, the men will support each other. They'll just be like lads together, they get on and that's it. But women seem to see everyone, each other as cutthroat, and, women will always be bitchier, like, and it's just like I don't get what it is. Whereas, you know, if they supported each other, they'd be able to do so much better. And I'm not saying that I think that there should be more women doing talks instead of men. I think that always it should be the right people for the job. But, you know, I think that there were so many different topics where if a woman was speaking about it, other women would be able to relate to it a lot more than a man saying that same thing, because there were certain things that you know, in life or business that we do, and I just think, well, a man's never going to understand that, or a man's going to approach that so differently, or they can get away with behaving in a certain way. But if a woman did that, we would never ever be able to do that. And whilst they may be able to empathize with women, they don't actually get it. So if a woman got up on stage and said the same sort of things and, you know, explained their stories, I'd relate to them a totally different way. And I think that's really important. So it's about your audience. And I think this is why diversity is so important, not just with gender, but also with race, also with sexuality and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's not the same for a straight white male as it is for, you know, a gay black female, if I'm trying to go the opposite way what it is, maybe.
Totally.
You know, and you know, they would have totally different things, or, you know, even like a gay man, the same sort of thing, like a gay white man versus a straight white man gets treated very, very differently, and depending on where you go as well. In certain industries, okay, in the creative world, it's a lot less, I think, it's a lot more accepting, but in the corporate world, I'm sure that, you know,
well, take a look at Apple. Take a look
Right.
at Apple. What's his name? Who's the guy who runs Apple now? He's been given
the guy, Tim, what's his name now? I've got his name, Tim something.
Yeah. So did you just watch the Apple? They just had the Apple release. I watched it too, but it came out just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I know when they announced the new phone and the iPads and everything.
Oh, like, you should see the new colors they're coming out with.
The green.
Yes, yeah, the Alpine green. But I mean, he was given a ton of grief, and his sexuality was brought into question. It's like, why?
I just remember
yes. Yes. Why? So
I didn't even think about his sexuality.
But when we look at media, but on this note, what I do think is interesting, and what I'd like to challenge people with is, you know, we're talking about pronouns, he, she, whatever. I choose to go by Queen. That's Queen of Resilience. You all can call me Queen Kim. Sorry. The comedy show is later tonight. But what if we applied that to adjectives, right? As opposed to she's being aggressive, maybe she's assertive. Wait, a dude we call assertive. We don't call him aggressive. We call her aggressive, him assertive. Why do we pigeonhole? People's behaviors to fit what we feel as a 1950s profile for behaviors for proper behaviors for women. So, and I do think that has part of it. I mean, it's a very fine balance when you're dealing with a $1 million company. It's a very fine balance of me being able, me saying, no, the deadline is this. I cannot shift a deadline that's been applied for an overall project for one person. Either you meet it or you don't. And that to some sounds bitchy. You know, and that's not fair. It isn't. And I literally just posted this on LinkedIn and Instagram. I literally just posted this because I have a hoodie, which I took up because it's a bit warm, but it said boss on it, and it's a Hugo Boss one, but it said boss. And I was saying that I always like to say, I'm not bossy, I'm the boss. That's what I will say. And that's the same thing. And I was like, because I had it 3 times last week, and I got annoyed with other people saying, oh, you know, you're going to come across bossy. Like, that's just, you're so bossy. And I'm like, I'm not even being bossy. I'm just saying, you've got a deadline. You're missing your deadline. Can you explain to me why you're missing the deadline? And they'll be like, oh, I was just, you know, waiting for clarification or something. I'm like, no, like, you know, if you're waiting for clarification or something, chase that up, but you could do all the other stuff around it first. Don't just wait in the middle of a project. You could do everything else first. I said, if you're going to miss the deadline, you need to let us know in advance, as soon as you can in advance, that you think you're going to miss the deadline. So we can communicate to the client. I'm like, God, it's so bossy. I'm like, it's not being bossy. I am your boss, and this is what needs to be done. And these are the processes that need to be put into place. And lots of people don't understand this. And they just sort of say, oh, she's bossy. But if a man did that, they're like, oh, he's very authoritative. Like, you know, he shows commands. And it's like,
it doesn't make any sense. Why is it the same thing, like you said about the whole like aggression versus, you know, and it's the same sort of thing. And I don't understand why this is still a gender divide. It's crazy.
Well, and I think that then you have a whole nother layer on top of that, because then you have the almost that silo effect that we women who are in leadership, we end up in almost a silo effect because it's hard to explain the challenges around that, you know. And you know what, I'm not saying that men don't have challenges. My husband is part of a group called the K4 Men Group, and it's a really cool men's group. It's all online. And it's really about exploring and making the connectivity they need to make in order to have healthier relationships, not only with themselves, but with those around them. And it's interesting because if we took that same approach for women in business and they had a healthier connection with their business boss inside, right, would they ask for the money? So let me ask you this. Statistically, what do you think the average female business coach makes in North America?
So in USD, 120,
46,000 a year.
What?
Yep. The average female in North America makes just under $20 an hour. I love stats. I love stats. And I sit here and go, what is wrong with this picture? Right. And then you look at it and go, why? So when you look at it, if are they investing that 7%? Are they going for it? And a lot of women I just find that don't invest in their business the right way. You know, they sit there and they get frustrated, and we're all trying to fight in the Instagram sandbox. Yeah. We're all trying to gain awareness. Things are going louder and prouder, but you know, at the end of the day, then they like, what is it? What is their messaging? How is their market approach? What are they doing? Right. So all of this is just crazy stuff that I'm looking at. And just so you know, everybody out there, entrepreneurship for males is not that much higher. It's about $7,000 on average higher. So when we look at entrepreneurs, we look at people in the coaching industry, we're looking at this. I want to know who's making all the money and why it's not being dispersed a little bit more evenly. Forbes article in 2019 posted that the online revenue production for education, mentorship, coaching, that type of thing was $117 billion. They predicted it by 2025 to be $350 billion globally. So I'm just asking, like, why shouldn't everybody have 150K in there?
Well, that's why I plucked out that number, because obviously, like I said, a lot of stuff online is a lot of marketing fluff. There's a lot of hoo-ha. There's a lot of bullshit, so to speak. That's why we're not bullshit talk. So, you know, there are I see Instagram ads all the time for people like, oh, I make 7 figures, you know, so therefore I can help you, blah, blah. So obviously I'm thinking, okay, some of them might be telling the truth, or some of them must be earning quite a lot of money. So that's why I was like, okay, if I pick 120 as an average, that, you know, those ones will bring up the average massively, the ones who are earning 7 figures, and there's probably a lot who aren't earning that much. So I thought we would, you know, that would be what it is. But 46K seems ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And I talk to a lot of these women, and they're good. They're smart, and they're still trying to figure out how to crack next level. What's the greatest challenge you're seeing in your field right now with your clients and with people you're talking to?
With the clients, it depends, because everyone's in a very different industry. So there's a whole variety of pain points. Although the common issue that everyone's having across everyone I ever speak to is staff. Trying to get good quality staff, because I think that the pandemic's changed people. People are slightly odd now with how they're acting. I think that, you know, people have gotten lazier, people have gotten more entitled, and the quality's gone down and the attitude's gone up, is what I've noticed. And so everyone's been saying the same thing. They're not finding as good quality people everywhere. And I think that there's a consistent pain point around all of staffing issues.
Yeah, and I do agree. There is, I think a lot of people got comfortable not putting pants on during COVID, and not everybody is going to be able to find the motivation to get up out of bed and do work online. So I myself find that I struggle with staff. So I would absolutely say that that's the big one. And I don't know if it's entitlement as opposed to maybe not understanding work ethics, not understanding. I think we're in this huge shift because we're going from the industrial age where everything's manual labor and got to get in there, right? And we literally in the last 2 years have experienced this huge shift into the age of knowledge, right? We have cemented that this is where we're at. Everything's online. You got to be able to do this. And I just wonder if everybody's been fed this whole passive income crap. Just so everybody knows, there is no such thing as passive income. Nobody makes money easy. It ain't free. It just doesn't come to you. You can have passion income and enjoy working hard. But, in real estate, if you work more than the average real estate agent in North America works 30 hours a week and makes $43,000 a year was the stats last year, $43,000 a year. So they work 30 hours a week. However, those that ended up working 42 hours a week doubled their income. And those that went up to the next level, which was like at 55 hours a week, literally tripled from that. So you're talking about, are you willing to put the time in? I find a lot of people just don't put the time in. They don't have consistency. They're not following through.
I think that's it.
Too hard.
I think everyone's lazy these days as well. That's what we've seen in fact. And it's the instant gratification of everything. Everything's instant now. And, like you said, the whole, everyone's kind of feeling like they should have X, Y, Z and social media posting different things. And I think that I think the whole work-life balance thing, there are too many people talking about how you shouldn't be working as hard, and so everyone's like, oh well, maybe I should be lazy too. I can just like sit back and expect things to happen for me, and I should be able to post a picture on Instagram and get several £100,000s for that like, and that's the sort of attitude we're seeing at the moment. So lots of younger people who apply for jobs, they'll say, oh yes, I'm a senior developer, and they've got 2 years of experience. That's to them, that's senior. Like, well, I've watched like every YouTube video on it, so therefore they're senior. They think that that's what it counts. So they don't get that other people in the industry have been in it for 15, 20 years, and even they still trying to learn stuff. There's a totally different attitude and approach to it. I think that's a difference. And what you just said to me about the real estate agents, like they're putting in 55 plus work hours of work a week. To me, that's great work ethic. They should be paid, and look, they triple their income by doing that because they're the ones working hard. So when everyone else is asleep, they're the ones able to close those deals, and that's why they're doing what they're getting the opportunities while other people are not working. However, if you say that to someone 55 hours a week, this is culture of encouraging people to be lazy. So they say, oh, that person's working 55 hours a week. What they're doing, they're burning themselves out. They are like, and there's always negativity around working hard now. And I get it. There's also that factor, but there was too much negativity around hard work. That it's a bad thing. It's a bad concept. And now everyone's kind of lazy about it. I feel like that's the problem we're having.
Well, and there's understanding what is work. So when I say 55 hours a week, about probably 10 or 15 of that was within the volunteerism and the signature events I created to support my brand awareness. So I love me a good party. I love a good event. I don't know if you can tell, I'm a little out there at times. And but when you get down to brass taxes, that is part of the time away from home, away from family, so forth and so on. But the reality is like 15 hours of that every week was going into something I thoroughly enjoyed, but still continued to build brand awareness. I find a lot of people are so stuck within a box, they don't look at all the other components that can go into building their brand awareness, that can go into benefiting their clients. So it's so if you take somebody who is, let's say somebody who does insurance, sells insurance, right? You're going to have your 8 farm areas. You're going to have your geo farm. This is where you live. This is your backyard. These are the people that you're seeing at the grocers. You're going to have your interests, your community of interest, right? So these are the people that you maybe play Dungeons and Dragons with or whatever. I don't know. I don't do that, just so nobody knows. I only pulled that because I did an article on a group of guys that did Dungeons and Dragons, but so, or horticulture or whatever your jam is. So that's your other community. Then you have your community of past education. You have your community of past work. You have your community of faith. You have your, you have your social media community. Everybody's putting all their eggs into one basket, social media. And let me tell you, folks, real dollars are still being spent in the real world. So, and a lot of people don't have the soft skill set in order to be able to work within the real space. They have the online persona down flat or pat, and they just don't know how to roll with the punches and move within real space, real time. So when I talk to people, it's like, what are you doing with all of these? How are you nurturing? And one of those communities is volunteerism. 29% or 27% of North Americans volunteer. 27%. That is it. 29% female, 21% male. The average is like just under 27%.
Wow.
And yet it offsets the economy by over $3.1 billion annually. All that volunteerism.
I want to find out the stats for the UK. I feel like it's less than that. I don't really know that many people who volunteer for anything. Like we run pro bono programs in the company, and I've been doing it since I was a kid, but that's because my dad does, and my dad obviously, and my parents, and if my parents do, then that's where you learn it from. But I don't think it's anywhere near that high in the UK. I really don't think it's a culture here.
Well,
it's just such
and
a shame.
the UK is also on published authors is lower than the United States. Also, it's less than 2% are published authors.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think there's a belief that it's not really possible here, although it's changed now. There's a lot of people who are obviously helping other people do that. I think that but it's still, I guess, not seen as an easy thing to do, and people don't think they can write, and there's that whole thing, and it's a very different thing. But you mentioned your real estate quite a lot, because you used to have a career in real estate, right? That's how you started.
Well, I'm still licensed, and I do coach for real estate agents. So that's the only coaching I offer, and I only coach what I call a community expert or my 500 door policy. So I can actually prove, and I have an agent here locally that's going through that program and already has 3 sign calls. In real estate, if you don't have listings, your business is listless. And that's not a joke. It is the truth, because your signs in the lawn are your storefront. And a lot of agents right now are scrambling for kind of these online lead gen. So if you put your information in online, you get like 25 different real estate agents calling you, harassing you now. That's all. So I teach people how to go back to the basics within their local community, understand their 8 points of their 8 community offerings. But real estate really is, you are the product. I have no product to hide behind, right? I have to have faith in the product I'm offering, belief in the product I'm offering. And I think that's a lot of reasons why entrepreneurs fail, is because if they're doing something that's solely on their shoulders, then they have to have enough conviction in that, the same as you would if you went out and started talking about Nikes or Adidas, right? If you go out and you start talking about the historical foundation of fossil products, you look at them, the quality of a bag, the quality of their watch, all this other stuff. So there's all these things, and it's easy to get behind somebody else's brand. But when you are your own brand, that's really hard. And I think that's why there's an 87% failure rate in real estate in the first 36 months.
And that does not surprise me at all. Like, it seems it's so cutthroat as well. And obviously the stakes are so high. So that's why a lot of people aren't going to withstand that pressure. Like, so many people, similar failure rates to just startups, right? Because a lot of people start their own business thinking that's hear all the good things about it, the attraction of it, the freedom, potential income, working anywhere from home, like all that kind of stuff. People hear all the good stuff, and they don't realize how difficult it is, and the pressure's too much. And if you're actually then needing to earn that money every time you go into a pitch to be able to survive and pay your rent or food or whatever, then it's added pressure. And so I get that. So there's so much pressure there. And I think that compared to the UK, it's very different, because real estate, realtors don't exist in UK, right? We have estate agents where it's a big company and you just work for them. It's a totally different thing.
And the legals around the industries are so incredibly different. So in the UK, you can have a domino effect where if one property at the beginning of that chain does not close, none of them close, and you don't know if your property is sold until the day somebody shows up with the check in their moving van. Whereas Canada is unlike any other market globally. Canada, in 7 days flat, you will know if the bank will ensure the mortgage is put in place in 7 days, even if your possession's not for 90 days. We do everything in 7 to 10 days in Canada, and it's done. It's set in stone. And that's why people pay estate agents here, because there's 32 forms. We have 32 forms now here in the province of Alberta, legal forms that have to be filled out. And if you don't use an estate agent, your lawyer will charge you what you could have paid your real estate agent.
Yeah, that makes
just
sense.
because there's huge liability. But once your home goes firm, in 1,800 real estate transactions, I have only had one property ever not close on the projected close date.
Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive. What went wrong with that one property?
The home seller. So what happened was the home buyer's money was late funding. It was after 12 noon. It was late funding, and it was due to an issue at the bank. The money was there. It just had not been moved around. And the home seller had decided they did not want to sell, and they executed a breach of contract.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, honestly, the home seller was a bit of an asshole, but that's okay. There's somebody out there in every field. But I took everything I learned in real estate and in 2014 and applied that to our production company, in-house production. And so we produced over 70 half-hour broadcast television shows. And this is where I learned. I was trained by Shaw TV, which is one of the big three telecommunication companies in Canada, and worked with will always be the best producer in my mind, Jimmy Cummings, who unfortunately just passed away this past year. He was incredible. Everything he taught me around production and storytelling, and how to put it out there. And I went out and I tried. Okay, so try this, folks. Not only sell your product, but sell you as a storyteller in the product. So, I mean, I went out and sold these we're in a recession in Alberta. Alberta was in the greatest recession it's faced since 1982. And we were bleeding jobs. People were foreclosing on houses in 2014, 15, 16, 17. And I still managed to go out and raise. Is that a mimosa? Please, God, tell me that's a mimosa.
You have some.
You are my hero.
It is nearly 6 o'clock here, though. That is
okay. You're my hero. Oh, that's awesome.
It was sitting there. I really just want it.
I love a good mimosa. Yeah. So I do find that because I did have the backing of a broadcast television, it was easier for me to sell this product. So I needed to find $300,000 inside of 8 weeks to fund a TV show in Calgary in a recession about Calgary. And so we just found a way to really create great ads, infomercials basically, and sold and got the whole show up and running. And the thing is the show is in perpetuity. It's still there. You can still see it, right? It's now moving from Shaw. Those shows will be accessible through Telesoptic. And and through we have a Resilient TV OTT platform. So if anybody hears what OTT, do you know what OTT is?
No, not really.
OTT. Okay, so OTT is the new language in television production. So traditional broadcast television with the cord is dying everywhere. Whereas you still have CNN, ABC, BBC, CBC, you still have all these networks. Now, where do they get seen? So Netflix is the original, the OG of OTT, and OTT is over the top. So these are The way that they're structured, it's not a YouTube. Netflix is not YouTube. Netflix is far higher quality, doesn't have the ads popping up, so forth and so on. So Netflix is kind of the foundation for OTT. So we're seeing all these OTT platforms popping up like Amazon Prime and Crave and everything. And you'll see on like Samsung has their own channel, and on Samsung you can watch CBC and BBC and, you know, those types of channels. DW we watch on Samsung. So you can watch all of those on these OTT platforms, along with them being on YouTube now. The thing with OTT platforms is they're now creating a space for content creators and messaging that YouTube, once you load something on YouTube, you no longer really own that. YouTube owns it.
Yeah.
If you actually read the fine print in YouTube owns your content. So the OTT platforms is kind of our next level of broadcast. And so we're plugged in here in Canada with RTV to, we start in June with Telus Optic, and then in November will be Roku, which is the US channel, Roku, Samsung, Apple, Amazon, all the big, like the big six, right?
Well, that's exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah, it's fun because then it allows us that TV platform without having to go out and pitch it and find other channels, right? We are all built in one house for you know, our Resilient series, our Authority Accelerator products.
Well, tell me this about the Resilient series and everything like that people do, because, you know, something that most coaches or most entrepreneurs want to go do, like you said, you mainly deal with female entrepreneurs. They really want to create like a course because that's what kind of everyone's doing. It's like, I know you don't want to say passive income, but it's definitely you want to digitalize a product, right? That's the way to kind of earn money while you sleep, literally. And so everyone wants to do it, but not everyone can do it, in the fact that they may not necessarily have the right materials at the moment to do it, but there's potential there. What advice would you give to people who are thinking, right, I need to do a course, this will help my business, this will help my brand? Like you said, people look you up and you'll find you everywhere. If you've done a course on something, it looks like you know what you're doing. Like, what advice would you give to people who want to try and actually make their way out there and make a course?
Making a course is actually a lot easier than most people even think it is. We overcomplicate this. You have to decide, first of all, are you edutainment or are you academia? So you have to determine what field you're going into. And academia is going to be far harder to create and get accreditation. It takes years. Edutainment, so the average person out there does what's called fractional reading. So you only have their undivided attention for about 7 seconds. And then after that 7 seconds, we are at a 7-minute. And now it is rule of thumb, no content should be, the reason we're seeing 10 and 12 minutes on these videos, education videos, is because that's about as long as you can keep anybody. The reality is that I do believe everybody has something they can teach and share, and not everybody, that one product cannot be your $1 million product. It has to be part of a holistic approach to the challenge this avatar, this ideal client, this right fit client is facing. A lot of people won't have the $2,500 for a retainer for a full-on professional service. However, they would have $250 teaching them the right questions in order to find the right answers they need in order to move their market right to the next level. So with making a course, it's super simple. First thing is determine one avatar. One. You're not making it for everybody. One avatar. So if you're going to teach people how to groom their cats by licking them, that is your one avatar. Who is that going to be? That's going to be a 58-year-old woman. She probably watches crime TV and has been divorced 3 times. So we need to make sure that our content is directly geared towards her. And you need to know that she can find you, that you've been published, that you have had your professional video work, that you have spoken on this, and you have all these spaces come together while you have a standardized kind of 6 module course, 5 to 6 modules. Modules can't be any longer than 8 minutes. Just video them. Just video them. Call somebody and say, hey, I need to run some content. So I helped a gal video her 5 module course of how to record your own book for Audible and how to load it. And she'd been wanting to do this for 4 years. And so, well, let's just video it. It's not that hard. Then you just run it through a transcription. Then you have your transcription sitting there. Now you make your 2 or 3 applicable downloads. You pick your platform. I personally use Kajabi. If anybody needs, kind of ideas on Kajabi, let me know. I'm more than happy to support there. I basically, if you look at the resilience series, I built predominantly or have worked with the people who have built. I can pretty much understand that system. But there's Udemy, there's Thinkific, there's all these platforms out there that are specifically designed for that. And watch, ClickFunnels has something coming up too here next month. There's going to be some big announcements happening around ClickFunnels. You don't have to sell everybody. You just have to find the right few people that fit your niche. Exactly. So set your mark. If you want to make 110 on a passion project that showcases your zone of genius where you can help other people out, then make it. Record it. Go and do your Zoom with a girlfriend with a mimosa. Record your course. Make it into 6 and make sure you're speaking to that singular avatar. That singular avatar. Like I said, we try and make things way too broad. It's that singular avatar. Who are you speaking to? And then that's your direct message all the way through. You can make more than one product and you can have more than one avatar.
Yeah.
But when you design your course, so for example, I'm working with a gal who is clinical psychologist, and she works with people in relationships, and she specializes in sexuality. And so she's making a course that is for statistically a 40-year-old female who has been in a relationship, had a child, gotten divorced. Now, how does she learn to love herself again, embrace her sexuality, a decade older, the one where the old Mother Hubbard and her cupboard fell out, but these are real things, right? How do you go back into the dating world? So she's actually doing an entire course to know when you're ready to date, and are you dating the right way for you? Wow. Are you letting go of the shame and the fear and the disappointment? And I chose wrong last time. That fear, will I choose right this time? So that's a great course. 6 modules, 10 minutes a module, author in Life After Divorce, speaker on the summit, book, and then she has her video documentary. She has all these pieces and they're all being loaded into her platform. So then all she has to do is start working on the social media aspect, finding the right people to help push out her social media and help leverage all of these assets.
I think it's been incredible. I think you're right, though. I think niching is what everyone kind of says as a general piece of advice. And the narrower the target that you're talking to, the better it is. Same as when we're doing ads. If you've got a really narrow target, then we can, tailor your social media ads to be much more effective that way, because you're speaking to the right type of demographic, which is fantastic. So it's been brilliant in that sense.
How do you get a good contest going? That's where I fail. Is figuring out how to get engagement comments for a contest.
Well, it depends on what the contest is.
Crack that.
Oh, really? We love doing contests. Contests are brilliant, but it depends on what you're doing. Are you doing a solo brand? Because we found that what we're doing a lot of at the moment is we're teaming up all our clients with brands. So we're finding clients who kind of their brands have similar target audiences. That's the best thing to do. And you utilize both their target audiences. So say if we have like just a partnership and we think that they've got similar target audiences, but by having both of them, the social media content on both of their profiles and utilizing both their audiences, they grow brand, and then be able to actively ask them for using the particular, always use a branded hashtag all the time. That always works. Get them to submit that sort of stuff, and then it's about UGC. So get them to, either the user to submit content based on with your products, like say if you were doing mimosas. Say if you were having a competition to sell mimosas, right? And you said I would win 2 boxes of champagne or something if I wanted to do it. So I would just need to snap it, selfie, and then put like hashtag mimosa competition or whatever. And then that generates so much like user generated content, because there were like hundreds of people entering this competition with, posts on different platforms, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, whatever, getting to their individual audiences, showcasing your brand and tagging you in it, that you're just getting like free marketing from that way. And I think that's the best way to do it. It's all about the UGC, from my opinion.
So are contests still a good way to grow social media, like your Instagram account?
It is, but again, the thing is with Instagram, if you look at the latest stats, they're like some ridiculous number are all still fake. So take even the Jenner's accounts. Did you realize that the Jenner's accounts, like Kylie Jenner's account, has about 40% of her followers are actually bots? Like, people don't realize that. Even her account is. So let alone like, an average Joe. There was like 45% of Instagram is basically bots at the moment. So it's very difficult. And I still think it's a great way to grow your account. But some people also just follow hashtags of like competition, giveaways, freebies. Like, some people just follow those and just go on Instagram and don't really care about the product. But I guess if they're making the effort to enter a competition for your brand, they must like that brand. So it's still worth doing it, because there's still, those people will still see your products and think, oh, it's worth the effort of entering this competition. So they are still probably your target audience for that. So I still think it is a good way to grow your accounts, because it's organic and authentic.
Yeah, it's the organic engagement. And I'm finding that the accounts are going down on comments, fewer and fewer comments, right?
Yeah. And
even Mel Robbins, Mel Robbins has, she's huge. And you go in and she'll only have like 370 comments on something. I'm like, how is that possible? Like, everything this woman speaks is a gem, right? And I found it very interesting. The growth in social media. One of the things that I've seen as of late is people are no longer asking me for my social media numbers. They're asking me for my mailing list numbers.
Yeah.
So I think
what's ironic is that email marketing is still way more powerful in some ways. Like, it's still, the conversion rates seem to be much higher than social media. A lot of brands have been saying the same things, and we've seen the numbers saying the same things too. It's still an extremely powerful marketing tool, email marketing. It hasn't really changed.
Yeah. What's your top 3 favorite CRM platforms? Because I'm right now shopping new CRMs. We've outgrown our existing one.
Again, depending on what you want to do with it. So most of our clients use HubSpot because of the fact that we are HubSpot partners too, and it's a whole integrated service. However, it gets pricey. So if you're using them for sales, you're using them for marketing and the whole shebang, it's very pricey. But it is really great, and it integrates with so many things. And
that's what Cardone uses, is HubSpot. And I was looking into it, and it was about $3,000 a month US for the level of which he uses it.
Exactly. So most of our clients are about £700 or £1,000 a month, and that's already like for standard, as a basic standard sort of thing. So it's quite a lot of money when you if you're just starting out. So for people, but there is a free HubSpot CRM actually. It's a free one. It's a completely free one. So I would recommend that to people to start with. Pipedrive is another good one that I think people like for sales. So again, depending on the level where you're at, so I'll say HubSpot for the big one. But if you're just starting out, if you want to integrate email marketing with a CRM, then MailChimp's actually brilliant in that sense, because their CRM, the way that it works, it can be used as a CRM, which is great. And MailChimp has all the great features that you need when you're first starting out with an email marketing campaign. Companies grow out of it very quickly, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's going to take you all the way to the top, but it's a great place to start because it's so cost effective at the beginning. As you start to build your mailing list and you start to get quite a lot of people, it does become expensive. But when you're just starting out, it's fantastic. And I would definitely recommend MailChimp as a starter.
MailChimp's been around forever, like
Exactly.
forever.
Exactly. And they know what they're doing. They know what's good, and they bring back, and it's not just the emails. So with MailChimp, you get like landing page, the templates and stuff that you can do. It's great for people who are, don't have the coding skills, want to do something with a drag and drop builder, but it's also great for someone like us who are, are hand coding stuff. And so we can actually upload custom stuff too, which is also really useful. So yeah.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
That's my recommendation.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I never even heard of Pipedrive before.
That's more of a sales CRM, I'd say. So that's definitely more salesy. So for the other two, they're a bit more holistically rounded in terms of a marketing perspective as well. But I say Pipedrive is definitely the salesy one. But yeah, that's what I'd recommend.
Very cool. Very cool.
But,
no, I, it's all about growth, and, it's having these types of conversations with people, and just get the insight of what's going on. Can you tell I just turned into the interviewer? Sorry. I do this all the time.
I noticed. I was thinking, okay, we could turn this into a different podcast, but we could do a whole new podcast on this, which would be great, and I'm happy to. But yeah, otherwise, I think it's also a good place to stop here now and actually say thank you first of all. You've been fantastic and inspirational for people today. But I want to know where people can get in touch with you. Where would our listeners who are listening think, right, I need to get in touch with Kim, I need to know more? Where is the best place to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. It is resilientseries.com is the website. I have a free gift for everybody. You go resilientgift.com. That will drop you into a portal that will give you a free 6-month access to the whole back end of, any of the videos we're creating. If we have any masterminds, you can come to those for free. It's like I said, everything, you can access everything for free, including our monthly e-magazine, just showcasing amazing women and their stories and how they're moving forward. I'd love to actually have an article from you, Sabrina, that you'd make a great addition. But yeah, so I'm easy to find, and I'm hello@resilientseries.com, and it's Resilient Series on Instagram. It's pretty much, you can either look up Kim Hayden, and I'm the crazy redhead, not the hot redhead from Ireland that's a singer. There's two of us out there. I know many mistake me for the hot redhead, but no, she's 30 years my junior. So I'm easy to find. Kim Hayden on LinkedIn, Instagram, all those, or Resilient Series.
Perfect. So I'm going to put all that in the show notes, especially the free gifts and everything like that. And so people can get in touch with you. So thank you so much. It's been brilliant today. And I can't wait to hear more about all the courses and hear more about what success that people have when they come work with you. So thank you so much for today.
Absolutely, Sabrina. I'm looking forward to it. Bye for now.
And thanks everyone for tuning in today. And if you enjoyed the show, then please remember to hit that like button or subscribe and, just support us. It means a lot to us. But thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next week.